The RSVP was marked yes too. I wasn't one of them. Hook. The envelope was thick enough to feel expensive and thin enough to pass for kindness. Cream stock gold edging, our address rendered in the sort of calligraphy that thinks love is a font. Inside, the card said black tie gala in letters that pretended not to be thirsty. Below the response line, a neat, fast flourish in my husband's hand. Yes, too. The handwriting belonged to him. The two did not. My name is Reese. I'm 35 and I write copy that teaches software to describe itself as humane. My husband is Callum. He designs rooms for museums until strangers feel faithful without knowing why. 4 years married, we are excellent at decency and sloppy with heat. Coffee where a hand will find it. The good glasses, even for water. A kiss in the doorway that has never once asked for applause. We don't drop what matters. We have been lazy about matches. The gala was Saturday. The RSVP had been posted on Tuesday and taken off the fridge on Wednesday. On Friday, I found the envelope under the couch as if a secret had rehearsed hiding and then gotten bored. I turned it over and saw the faint ghost of a fingerprint in a place I knew my fingers hadn't been. "You planning to take your conscience?" I asked when he came home, holding up the card like a museum label. He had the courage to look wrecked without rehearsing it. "I was going to tell you," he said. He didn't reach for me. That was new. He put his bag down like it contained an argument that didn't want to be carried anymore. I wrote him on the RSVP to force the conversation. I failed to schedule the conversation. "Him has a name," I said. "Julian," he said, and the sound made my stomach organize itself into paperwork. "He's adjacent. He helped with the light plot for the donor walkthrough on Wednesday. He stayed late when the lift jammed. He stayed." There are nouns that install railings in your body. I put the card on the kitchen island the way you put a specimen where it can't run off and multiply. "Meet me at the gala," I said. "With him. Or don't go. But if you go, we tell the truth where the light is good." The hotel was one of those buildings that teaches you how to be quiet without embarrassing you about it. The ballroom had been designed to flatter checks. The carpet had practiced not making sound for a living. I arrived early and stood by the coat check feeling like a witness with no sworn-in left. At 7:14, Callum walked in with a man whose sleeves were rolled to the degree that makes statutes relevant. He had a white shirt that would be forgiven by fluorescent light and worshipped under anything warmer. When he laughed, I recognized the sound as a door. "Reese," Callum said, my name arriving in the mouth I trust and also pay rent to. He didn't touch me, which almost made me forgive him for everything else. "This is Julian." Julian didn't offer a hand. He stepped aside, ceding heat without pretending it was charity. "Do you want me to leave?" he asked, and it is still astonishing how erotic decency can be when it isn't afraid. "Yes," I said, because speed is the only mercy strangers deserve when furniture is preparing to testify. "Thank you," I added, because my mother is a religion I refuse to renounce at the coat check. He nodded once. As he passed Callum, he put 2 fingers gently to his knuckles, punctuation, not claim, and disappeared toward a hallway where hotel art trains lies to feel curated. We didn't sit. We stood near a column that pretended to be structural and let the room do its affidavit, forks performing sincerity, a laugh that belonged to someone who had survived on purpose, a string quartet trying to make donors feel brave. "You kissed him," I said, "because you have to set the table before you eat." "Twice," he said, refusing to rehearse. "Once because I wanted to be chosen without auditioning. Once because I wanted to hurt us hard enough to move. Both times I thought of you. Both times I kept going." I put his hand where it belongs, between my shoulder blades, pressed into the square that convinces my lungs to obey. We kept it clean enough for cameras, and explicit enough that the marble learned our names. My mouth found the place under his jaw where my name pays rent. He breathed like a man stepping down from a ledge he hadn't admitted to climbing. "I don't want to audition for your forgiveness," he said against my collar. "I want to be chosen and then worth it." "Then stop renting applause to make meaning," I said. "Use the hallway light at home. Use me." We survived the opening remarks, the video montage where philanthropy puts on its good teeth, the first auction lot where a weekend in a villa pretended to be altruism. During the paddle raise, Callum leaned in and said, "Walk with me," which is marriage for I'm drowning where the room wants me to swim. We slipped into the service corridor that smells like competence. He told me the short version of the long story. The donor dinner where attention was poured into the wrong glasses. The text that arrived like permission with a clock. The storage room where silence works too efficiently. He said Julian's name twice and mine like a metronome, until the square behind my ribs remembered its job and clocked in. We didn't stay for dessert. We left a note with the event manager that said family thing, and for once the euphemism was accurate. We walked home because walking is the only ritual that doesn't ask for a receipt. The city did its useless announcements. Sirens trying to apologize, an elevator cable deciding, the smell of bread from 3 blocks away threatening to be a metaphor. At our door, I took blue painter's tape from the junk drawer and cut a small square. I stuck it to the kitchen window and wrote 807 above it with the pencil that lives by the calendar. "Every night," I said. 4 minutes of breath with your palm where breath listens. Then 3 minutes of inventory, 3 facts, 2 fears, 1 want, no prosecution. Then water in the good glasses. If we still want to fight after that, we can hire a referee." He nodded like a man accepting work he had asked for in another language. He pressed his palm to my back at 807 and my lungs obeyed like they were proud to be told. The window pretended to be a camera and then remembered it was glass. We kept it decent and explicit and mandatory. At 8:12 we said our lists. His facts were useful, not dramatic. He'd texted Julian ending it. He'd emailed the curator to step off Thursday nights. He'd blocked a calendar hour labeled "Make Heat at Home." His fears were adult. His want was me with my full name and no jokes. At 8:20, the water clicked like a new alphabet. It wasn't tidy. Twice that week he was late and the old monologue in my throat powdered its nose and asked for a microphone. I made it sit in the hallway and listened to the refrigerator explain patience. Once I saw Julian smoking outside a bar that thinks it invented dimness, tie loosened to the illegal degree, talking to a woman whose earrings looked like punctuation. He lifted 2 fingers, weather, not invitation. I nodded, because spite is expensive and I intend to retire loved. At 3:15 the next day, my phone buzzed a push alert: "No app will confess to writing. Listen to 11 seconds of water." "Present/bus stop," I texted. "Present/rigging," he replied, which is museum for I'm up where the weight is, making sure nothing falls on you while you walk under it. We fought properly, quietly like citizens with neighbors, accurately like people who intend to stay. I asked why applause still dresses up as oxygen in his body. He asked why I polish dignity until it slips through my hands. I said I was tired of writing copy for us that reads like compliance. He said he forgot he could ask me for noise. We traded sentences that were small and heavy and refused to perform. He said Julian's name without flinching. He said mine like an address he won't sublet. The museum sent a thank you the next week. Your attendance at the gala meant the world. The email had a photo of us by the coat check looking like men who owed a staircase an apology. I replied and didn't send. Your lighting is complicit. Your water is honest. We're moving our philanthropy to the kitchen. I read it to him at 8:20, and he kissed the corner of my mouth like feedback should always be physical. We made customs at the border of home. When one of us enters, he says, "I'm in," because present is sexier than sorry when it's honest. The hallway light is on a sensor now. It wakes when we break the air. If one of us has to be late, he texts present place, and I've learned to hear that is more valuable than apology. The lock clicks like a paid witness. We treat it like a choir member who needs sheet music and mercy. One night we went back to the museum after hours because Callum had to approve a dimmer queue and I had to practice not having rooms for flattering strangers. The empty gallery did its velvet hush. He tuned a skylight until a painting admitted its light. "Come here," he said, and I stepped into the pool he made until my mouth found the place under his ear that knows my first language. Clean. Explicit. The security camera observed and decided to retire. Julian texted once more, a sentence with a period and no plea. He's the kind of man you can be inconvenient for. Make it expensive to quit. I answered with something I would be proud to find under the couch later. We're paying in time. He responded with a single word, good. Adults saying grace. There were relapses. A donor asked for a quick drink that turned into 2 hours. A morning when I replied to his inventory with a joke because jokes are how I dodge invoices. Each time the tape square returned our bodies to their job description. Some nights, all we did was breathe and obey. Some nights, the room blurred at the edges and we became a country that doesn't require passports. We kept it decent enough for the window, explicit enough to teach the counter our names. People asked, in bathroom lines, under misbehaving streetlights, across sinks that have seen better metaphors, whether there was a villain. They wanted me to say a man with forgiving wrists, or a museum that flatters betrayal, or a husband who outsourced urgency to applause. The truth humiliates us evenly and is therefore merciful. The villain was the version of us that treated heat like an itinerary and romance like a vendor. The miracle was repetitive and small, knock on our own door. Say where we are, place a palm where breath listens, count to 60, try again. The erotic part wasn't the borrowed tux or the white shirt rolled one button too far or a ballroom that apologized with citrus. It was water in the good glasses clicking like an alphabet we finally agreed to learn. It was my name in his mouth at the windows blue, spoken like rent paid on time. It was his hand on the back of the heart in public, quick. Nothing for cameras, everything for the animal I am. 2 weeks later, a smaller envelope arrived, plain white, cheap, humble. Inside was a handwritten card. "We've updated our records, +1 Reese." It was from the Museum Development Office, which is to say a bureaucracy had learned to be human. Callum stuck it under a magnet shaped like a dumb fruit we bought at a street fair, and then turned to me like a man who knows which door to knock on. At 8:07, the square did what it always does when we are tired and proud and not hopeless. It put breath on rails. He set his palm to its post. My lungs obeyed. The city made its affidavit and we ignored it. At 8:12, we inventoried. At 8:20, the glasses clicked their little hymn. We failed a little at decency and the window forgave us by being glass. Tonight at 7:58, I'll set my phone face down like manners are still a technology worth installing. At 8:07, his palm will find the back of the heart and the tape will remember why it was hired. If we miss, we'll do the only miracle repetition has ever made plausible. Try again. 8:17, 10, 10, 11, 11, whenever mercy clocks in. Somewhere a development officer is licking an envelope and writing, "Yes, to," next to the wrong names. Our door knows our knock. It keeps opening when we ask it to.